Welcome to the Hollywood Raw YouTube page, guys. We're happy to have you here. Make sure you like, subscribe, leave us comments, do all the stuff.
What are you waiting for? Let's go. I got a drug addiction to feed.
Welcome to the Hollywood Raw podcast. I am Dax Holt. I am here in sunny California. Adam is over in New York. How is the weather over there, buddy?
Cloudy. Sun's come up a little bit. It's getting warm. We're getting peaks of it getting warmer. I think we didn't have any snow this season, which was nice, but it's definitely getting a little bit warmer. Which it gives me energy. I just feel better waking up. I don't know how you would do in New York if you dealing with the New York weather. Well, you grew up in like Colorado, but listen,
I do not miss the snow. I like going to the snow, like choosing when I want to be in the snow so I can, drive up the mountain or go to the beach. I like having that option. I grew up in Colorado and I remember being there during like El Nino and having to shovel out like 5 feet of snow. No, thank you. Over that crap.
Yeah, it's for me as a guy who works outside pretty much every day. It hurts. It's painful. It's like your back starts to hurt. If you have an itch on your back, you're like a bear. You rub against like poles in the city just trying to itch your back because you have so many layers that you can't like get the itch. But I have this Canada Goose jacket.
What an old man conversation we're having right now. Like, it's cold. Talking about the weather.
You want to hear the craziest story? So I have this jacket. It's a very, very expensive jacket. Now, if anybody is like in a cold weather area or especially in New York, you know about the brand called Canada Goose. Are you familiar with the brand Canada Goose?
Yeah.
So it's a very good jacket. It's a very expensive jacket. So that's what I have, which is the best jacket. Now, they don't actually sponsor us. I wish they did because I mean, listen, I would love a free jacket because it's that amazing. And it does keep you very warm and dry. Years ago, this is how I get through my winter. Well, this is how I've been getting through my winter. Years ago, Canada Goose opened up a brand new store in Soho. And I went there and they had like a little bit of a line outside. It was like 6 p.m. I was a little, had a little bit of marijuana in my system. And
don't do marijuana, guys.
Yeah. Do athletic greens. So I had a little something, but it was like they had like a few people waiting outside the store to get in. They had a door guy, 2 like security guys to like kind of like bring people in the store. They want to give them like that like very nice experience. They want to build up the excitement of the store with a few people outside. So I'm in like a roped area waiting to go inside the store. And all of a sudden, these protesters came out of nowhere and they run up on us and they were like probably paid actors or something like that. They're like paid to like protest. And they're, you guys use animal fur, you pieces of crap. And they start like shoving people in the line. And I'm like, what is going on? The security of the store closed the door of the store so to make sure the protesters wouldn't run in the store. However, they didn't really protect the people in line. We were like in a roped area. Like, dude, like we're getting like ambushed right now. They're like filming us, like going into the store. Like, this is like crazy. They didn't shove me because like when the guy came up to me to yell at me in my face, I think he saw that like, all right, I'm not going to fuck with this guy. Like, I don't know. Like I just had an angry face look.
He seems crazy.
Yeah. I was just like, don't go to the next person. Don't bother me. And I got like yelled at for like probably like a few seconds. And then all of a sudden I just kind of walked away. I wrote an email to the store and I said, you guys cared more about the security of the store than you did your own customers. They write me back immediately. We're so sorry. Did you get everything you wanted? I was like, I didn't even get the black parka jacket and medium that I wanted. It was like a $1,200 jacket. Dude, they sent me a free jacket, a very, very expensive free jacket. And then they wrote me another email back saying, hey, just want to make sure you got what you wanted because they sent me a free jacket. I was like, you can't send me a jacket with no gloves. Like, are you nuts? No, I didn't do that part. I didn't like push it to that. But I got a free jacket, which I've been using years later. And it's honestly the best jacket ever.
That is so funny. You should write back and be like, I can't believe my protest jacket got scratched. I need a new one. I need an updated in navy blue.
But it is... I don't know. This is our raw rundown, guys. I don't know why I got into this story. This is our raw rundown. We'll give you the top 10 stories of the week to make it quick, easy, and fun. So you know everything that's going on in the world of pop culture and entertainment news before the weekend. Before we get to the raw rundown, Dax, do you have a review ready for us? And if you don't know about the reviews, guys, just write a review for us. 5 stars, say a few kind words. We actually read your review live on air. It's a way for you to get a shout out, we want to say your name on air so everyone hears your name, and it's just
someone
really
asked me,
helps support us.
they were like, I can't figure out where to leave a review. They're like, I've been to Apple, I don't know where to leave it. I'm like, okay, if you go to Apple, you find Hollywood Raw, you go to our show page, you have to scroll all the way down. So you kind of scroll past our old episodes, and then at the bottom you'll see like leave a review, 5 stars. You can write something in right there. So that's where you do it. And yes, like Adam said, leave your name so we can read it on air. All right, here is one. This one's from LCSW Meg, 5 stars, always entertaining. I am a therapist who always has paperwork to do. Laugh out loud. You are always in my ear on Wednesdays and Fridays when I'm doing my mundane tasks. Always light and entertaining. As someone who loved pop culture and celebrity gossip for years and used to use that excuse to keep up with the teens I work with. Laugh out loud. I look forward to your weekly roundup. Love it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, the best thing to do to support us is actually leaving a review. It's honestly, and I'll explain it to you. I'm going to explain it to you the best way as possible. It helps out with the algorithm, which nobody knows. However, this is what they say is if you do that, it actually helps us out with the algorithm. So we appreciate it. On to our top 10.
Honestly, what I've noticed, the more reviews we get, the higher up the chart we go. And It's not even about necessarily your downloads or whatever, because there's days that people will be above us on the charts that have less downloads. It's legit reviews. I don't know what it is. The more reviews you get, you fly up the charts. So we've been number 1 on the charts. We've been number 2 on the charts. We've been all these ranks, and it depends on you guys. You guys are the ones that push us up and down the charts, and we really appreciate it. Yes,
very much appreciate it. If you already left a review, grab your spouse, grab your friend's phone, just do it. Say a few kind words, make a joke. As long as it's 5 stars, I don't care. Just do it. It really helps us out. On to our top 10 stories of the week, starting with number 10. Dax, what do we got?
Number 10, Lindsie Chrisley is saying that her dad, Todd Chrisley, is quote unquote embracing the process during his prison stay and has quote unquote made great friends. This headline, I was like, oh my God. They were like, come on, this headline is ridiculous.
It is. I think we're all embracing it. I think they're obviously Todd Chrisley, who I know if you watch on television, comes off a little feminine. So I think that's why people are like, oh, yeah, like it's that story that people take advantage of and say, oh, yeah, he's making friends out there in prison, which, you know what, when he's serving that sentence, because he's serving a pretty long sentence, he's got no choice but to make some friends out there. And granted, he is in a like a nicer type prison where it's not as tough.
Florida's federal prison camp in Pensacola. I don't know how nice it could really be at the end of the day.
You're in Florida, but again, Florida prisons are probably no joke.
Oh God, I can't imagine being in that like just super humid prison during the summer. Ugh.
That's got to be gnarly. I'm curious what Todd's going to look like when he gets out of jail.
He's going to be all grayed out. He's going to look raggedy. Maybe he'll work out a bunch. I don't know. But anyway, she opened up on her Southern Tea podcast, chatting about the prison sentence, chatting about how he's doing, what he's going through inside while he's serving this time. She said that in one of her first emails to her dad, she said, is there any mental health services that you have access to? And she couldn't get a direct answer from him, noting that, inmates deserve to have their wellness at the forefront of their experience behind bars. And then, he's going 12 years, by the way, at this Pensacola prison. And it sounds like he's trying to make the best of it, has made, quote unquote, lots of good friends while he's in there. But I mean, yeah, what else can you do? You got to make the best of it. You really have to.
Yeah, it's he's serving his time. I'm glad he's someone in good spirits. And I come more from her perspective, as a young girl, you want your dad to be okay and be happy. So it's good that, he's reporting to her like, I'm okay, for her sanity, not his, but for her sanity. Because at the end of the day, the courts found him guilty and he's dealing with the punishment. But for her sake, it just, again, I feel for her, not as much for him, because she's young and she had nothing to do with it, right?
Yeah. So
she did. I mean,
don't have bank and wire fraud and tax evasion. Pay your taxes, guys. It's April. Pay your taxes.
Did you do your taxes yet?
Oh yeah,
You're all done
early.
Yeah, this is the first year I got done like in early, like plenty of time.
I love it. Yeah, that's
But
like
I'm still scared that I'm getting audited.
I
I
think
don't know for
everyone's always
reason.
worried about it.
It's like I have a friend who got audited twice. I'm like, that's my biggest fear. I'm like, I'm trying to do everything right. Like it's my biggest fear.
They don't care about you and I, bro. We don't make enough money. They're like, poor peasants. Go keep the money you have.
yeah. You could keep your Waffle House money. It's that's on us, okay? But we're gonna go after the Todd Chrisleys of the world, the ones who flaunted in Georgia. All right, move along. Number 9.
Number 9, Britney Spears continuing to live her life up on vacation, sans wedding ring. So everyone has been talking over the last couple of days. Britney Spears has been on this like vacation, this Puerto Rican vacation with her agent. I don't know if he's also a manager, but friend Cade Hudson. Cade, not Kate. Cade Hudson. Yeah. And she's been every photo she posts, no wedding ring. And at the same time, Sam, her husband, Asghari, I never know how to say his last name. He was out also without his wedding ring. So it sparked a lot of like, are these two going to divorce? Are they splitting up? Like, what is happening? Because she's on vacation with another dude. Keep in mind that her literally just a friendship with Cade. There's nothing romantic there. But I know that Sam's people did put out a statement basically saying, nope, all is good. He didn't have his ring on because he was filming something. So he obviously didn't have his ring on during filming. So I don't know. Does seem strange, but I don't know. There's been a lot of breakup rumors, I guess. You remember the whole like restaurant argument that they had when he supposedly stormed out and he was like, oh no, I was just walking out to the car. Now I do wonder if there is some truth here that they are maybe not doing as well as they're presenting.
It's a hard thing to go over because obviously anybody who follows her on social media is just like, what is going on here? Mm-hmm. You know, it's tough to watch. It's tough to see because it's not, you don't want to say it's kind of manic or kind of crazy, but yet again, it's not
but it's kind of manic and kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's weird. It's odd. It's not your thing. So I think a lot of people who are always free Britney are just like, you know what? Maybe we spoke too soon.
Did you see the video that she did this week where she's in this like blue Titan satin dress? No, not that one. We'll talk about that one next.
Okay.
She's in this like satiny blue dress and it had like, I want to say like Julie diamonds on her boobs. And it was the ugliest dress I think I've seen. I don't understand how this woman has so much money and yet some of the ugliest clothing I've ever seen. I'm like, why does she keep putting on these clothes? My best guess is that in her like prime days, every designer was sending her clothes, right? Just boxes and boxes, and she stored them all up. And she's now breaking out the clothes from like the early 2000s and putting them on because some of the stuff is not like stylish anymore. And I feel like, 10 years ago, that might've been stylish. So that's all I can figure out because it doesn't make sense. No one is sending her these dresses these days. They're too weird.
I got to be honest with you. When Britney pops on my algorithm on Instagram or TikTok, I don't watch the content. No? It's tough to watch. No, it's tough to watch. You know, I don't. So it's like some people want to watch car accidents on YouTube. I don't like that.
I got sucked into the under boob sweat green dress video. Though.
All right, that one I watched because it had boobs and
so if you guys didn't see it, a part of her Puerto Rican vacation, she's standing in front of this like pink wall with graffiti all over, and she said, "Oh, I just saw this wall. I need to get out and dance." She's in this green dress, and she's so sweaty. And here's the one thing I do love about Britney, the fact that she doesn't give a fuck. Like, you know what I'm saying? Most people wouldn't post it because you're not looking your best. And Instagram's like, oh, I want to look my best at all moments. And she gets out and she is covered in sweat and she does it. She just dances, has a good time and posts the video. That is one part that I do love about Britney. She's very real in that side. Would you post a video if you had like ball sweat all over your gray shorts?
I don't really post like that. I don't really post sweat or balls. I don't know. It's not. I don't know. Listen. I guess she tells how it is, but it's like, is it too much, or is it just like, yeah, we didn't really need to know that, Britney. It's
I didn't
just.
notice.
I don't know. It's not for me anymore. I'm just kind of burnt out on her. It's like the Bam Margera stories, which if you've been following, it's like I didn't put that in the Royal Rundown because it's tough to watch.
So sad.
It's started getting sad. And when you start to do the Bam Margera stories, which there's probably about 2 a week lately, as a person who's such a fan of Bam Margera and a fan of Britney, it kind of hurts to do it.
I get you.
All right. Number 8.
Number 8, we got a new one. To the club. Sofia Richie converts to Judaism ahead of her wedding to Elliot Grange, I think is. Oh my God, sorry. E News is yelling at me in the background here. But Sofia Richie, who is set to wed Elliot, I guess converted to Judaism. She put a post up on social media talking about her journey, saying it's been one of the greatest experiences of her life. I guess they've been a little quiet about a lot of their wedding details, but I'm excited. I love it. I love bringing people into the group over here.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's fun. It's nice. I'm curious, like, what is she trying to do, or what is she trying to be?
I think they're trying to unify. I think that's all it comes down to.
Not even I'm just saying, as a person, as a like, she made her name from dating Scott Disick, but now she's back to Scott Disick's ex. Obviously, she's Lionel Richie's daughter. But like, who are you? Why? It's just, what is your role in Hollywood now? Now that, obviously you made your name, she's an attractive girl, but what are you going to do next? Why are you a celebrity? Is she a model, or is she just an Instagram model, kind of celebrity?
No, I think she's done modeling. She's become more famous. Obviously, her last name is extremely helpful. I think the fact that her dating Scott Disick really kind of put her into kind of that mainstream, a lot of people knowing about her. But yeah, she models. And I think this is a fascinating story. Not a lot of, not everyone talks about this kind of stuff. And the conversion to Judaism is not an easy thing. If you go, for a lot of people, it takes like a year and a half. This is like legit is not quick. It's not like you walk. So how to say, in like Christianity, you can, say, oh, I accept Jesus and you're Christian. In Judaism, it's not like that. You have to take a lot of steps and classes and read books, and you have to go in front of, it's called a Beit Din, which is a group of rabbis, and you have to answer questions. They want to make sure you're serious. They don't want just anyone saying, okay, I'm Jewish now. So I commend her for going through all the steps to make that official.
This guy she's engaged to comes from some serious money. Obviously, you're not gonna, if you're Sofia Richie, you're not gonna marry down. You're gonna marry up. So this guy is he's the son of the Universal Music Group chairman and CEO Lucian Grange. I mean, this guy. I mean, he's worked with people like Elton John, the Rolling Stones, Amy Winehouse, Rihanna, Katy Perry. He even received Billboard's first ever Executive of the Decade. He's on the Walk of Fame. So he,
well, they're both music royalty is what it comes down to.
Yeah, he's got his own record label.
Sense.
Yeah, he basically has rappers like Trippie Redd, Tekashi 6ix9ine. So he comes from a lot of money. So, and now they're music royalty. They've known each other their whole life, and now they are taking the relationship to the next level. So it's pretty. They're happy. It's good for them. Happy for Sofia Richie. I'm interested to see what she does next, or if she keeps her name. Sort of how does she keep her name relevant besides getting photos in Daily Mail every week?
Yeah, and like you kind of mentioned, they've known each other. They've known each other since they were 12. I think that they're just, their dads had business together, and so they had known each other for a long time. That's kind of cool. I like that.
It is cool. Very cool. Happy for them. All right, number 7.
Brooke Shields, no longer in Tom Cruise's good grace, at least according to the fact that he's not sending her the coconut cake gifts that he does every year. So she sat down. She's doing this whole People interview and talking about her new Pretty Baby Brooke Shields, which is a Hulu documentary. And so apparently Tom Cruise every year sends out this coveted coconut Christmas cake to a ton of his friends. It's a $126 bundt cake made at Doan's Bakery in Woodland Hills, California. And apparently it's like a really, really big deal. And so for 10 years, she was getting these bundt cakes. And when it shows up, and like many people have talked about it, Tom Hanks has talked about getting them. Who was it? Rosie O'Donnell said she loves getting like they're really, really good. So they're excited. And she goes, it hit a point where the cake stopped coming. And now she's all bummed. And she's like, I'd like to be back on the cake list. But it does make me want to go try it if it's that good that all the celebrities are talking about it. No, I didn't even know about it.
Yeah, I remember the story, and I'm curious. Like, great commercial for this cake, by the way. Great ad for this cake in this bakery. I'm very curious how the cake is. It sounds like it's really good because, like, I love coconut. Like, it's, but yeah, but why isn't she on the list? Do you know that? I think it's apparently about.
I don't know. And the thing is, they were actually they were close for a while. Like Suri and her daughter were born in the same hospital on the same day. They ended up celebrating like the kids' first birthdays together. Like, so they were tight back when he was with Katie. And so maybe that's a part of it. Like he equates that friendship with Brooke to his relationship with Katie and how he's not with them. So that friendship needed to stop. I don't know.
Well, yeah, the cake used to come from Tom, Katie, and Suri. Then when Katie and Tom broke up, the cake started to just come from Tom. But I think their relationship went a little bit sour, or at least Tom has a bad taste in his mouth when Brooke talked about medicine, about prescription medicine for, I think it was like anxiety, depression. And Tom, and Tom is very kind of vocal about that. Do you remember that infamous interview that Tom Cruise and Matt Lauer had years ago on the Today Show?
Don't call it the glib. Don't be
that
glib.
Was a crazy interview. Like
I didn't even know the word glib until that interview. Now I use it daily.
That's why I miss Matt Lauer. I miss Matt Lauer's Today Show because you'd get those interviews like that. Today Show doesn't get big interviews anymore. And that was the first time I think we saw in some ways, the Scientologist in Tom Cruise a little bit.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. I don't even know. It was just the real guy about the anti-vaccine guy.
That whole medicine debacle where he kind of like shaded her, I believe she was still on the list for like a couple more years getting cakes. So I don't think I think they put that issue behind them. She still got cakes and then it eventually stopped.
So if you're Tom Cruise and you hear Brooke Shields talking about, hey, I'm off the list, do you think because he's Tom Cruise and he's Hollywood, he has to add her to the list again?
Yeah.
Or maybe he stopped doing it. I mean, I don't know.
But I'm looking at the cake right now. I really want some of this cake, Adam.
Does it look good?
When you come out here and we do Heather McDonald again, let's go get some of this cake.
Is her studio in the area of that bakery?
Yeah, it was Woodland Hills area.
Oh, dope. Okay, I'm down. Yeah, I would love that. That sounds great.
Let's do it. All
Man,
right.
Great commercial for this cake.
No kidding.
What kind of cake is it again?
Doan's Bakery. And it was just a bundt cake. Yeah. Looks good.
Number 6.
Oh, there's going to be a lot of really sad people out there. But Tom Brady and Reese Witherspoon apparently not actually dating, even though, this has been the rumor. We talked about it on last week's rundown. The fact that there was a blind item up on Dumois' website basically saying that Tom and Reese were the new big couple dating in Hollywood after both of them going through 2 very high profile divorces after many, many years together. Well, it sounds like they've never even actually met. So they are calling bullshit on this dating rumor. I kind of was excited. I kind of wanted this one to happen.
Yeah. This is like part of the danger or weird parts of these blind item things. Because when you have the random people, just kind of common people, kind of write in stories and stuff like that, things could kind of be not true and brought out to the media and people jump on it. I mean, I know PR firms that they the client got rid of the PR firm. The celebrity got rid of the PR firm. The PR firm was like, had a bad taste in their mouth. And they're like, you need us. So what they did was they leaked stories to sites of bad articles about them.
I can see that happening.
Yeah, no, it's messed up.
But easily see that happening.
And not all of it's true, but yet again, they want to just say, hey, you need us because of stuff like this. So when, which the industry's changed in the past few years, and we talked about in our last, the blind item stories and how everyone with a cell phone kind of is a journalist. We get bad information. And, this was a story that kind of came up in the blind item sites, and these two never met. And it's at one point it becomes a thing where if you're Tom and Reese, do you address it or do you not address it? Like to add gas to it. But it's like one of those things where this is so ridiculous, just don't even put it out there. And I know a celebrity that saw a story about them that was so out of left field. And usually from what they told me, usually they don't speak on these kind of stories, but they wrote to the site that kind of put out the story and say, hey guys, usually I don't even comment on this stuff, but you should take this down. This is just so bad and so not true that I can't even, I have to speak up about this. And
it's got to be so weird to be so famous and you see all these stories coming through about you and you have to literally pick and choose, like, do I care to respond to this? Like, isn't that a weird life to live?
Yeah, it's got to be crazy. It's like sometimes you have to ask yourself, is it worth it? Is it not worth it? And in this, they let it live for a little bit. Then I have to imagine they were just like, at some point, they're like, okay, let's just put this away real quick.
Yeah.
And I think actually what it did is, I don't know, does it ruin the possibility of sometime in the future? I don't know, but I'm glad it's just sort of like,
I wonder if they run into each other at some point and they just kind of like, they see each other at an event and they start laughing and they're like, hey, nice to meet you, even though we've already been dating, like, through the media.
I could see them, and Reese seems fun. I could see them taking that photo and making fun of the situation. Like, hey guys, or just making a joke about it, All right. Number 5.
Number 5 is, hold on, let me get to it. Jason Sudeikis and Olivia Wilde. Apparently, Olivia is claiming that Jason isn't paying child support, and she is making several requests of him and reveals her monthly expenses in some new court filings, which, holy moly, a lot of money is transferring between the two of them, and she is saying that she has the lion's share of all the responsibility. She's got the kids. She is constantly watching over them. He is, and this is her claiming that he is not supporting them at all, even though that she is the one forking over the dough. Well, here's the thing. So in the documents, Olivia claims to have about $107,000 in expenses every month. She's calculated that to be around $60,000 in rent or in mortgage, $4,000 in laundry and cleaning fees. How dirty are you to have to spend $4,000 a month in cleaning fees?
Yeah.
She also goes on to say that she makes a monthly salary of about $40,000 and then gets $60,000 from the Wilde company income and rental property income. So a lot of money here, but she's basically asking Jason to pay her $500,000 for costs incurred. That includes, like lawyers fees and other things, because she is saying that he makes a lot more money than her, and so he wouldn't dispute that, and so she deserves some of it, is basically what she's saying.
It's so funny because you see the photographs of them at a soccer game for their kid, and you see them have that hug. And I feel like Paps might know, like, okay, let's get that photo. We know the kid's schedule, so let's see when, Olivia and Jason kind of interact and how they interact with each other. But it is, these two are, I mean, they'll hug each other in person, but I guess, like, do they have a conversation about it? I mean, it's just,
it feels like so dark behind the scenes. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You see this photo of them hugging, like you said, but like, how do you go and hug the person after you just serve them with court filings saying you owe me $500,000? Yeah,
they're not fans of each other. I mean, bottom line is, like, as soon as they hug each other in their head, they definitely do not like each other. And I don't think this is something that we are kind of putting it out there. I think we all could kind of tell this is not something like the media did. I think this is something like generally, like, you guys clearly don't like each other. And that came from when Jason's team served her papers in front of a theater full of people, which
I'm gonna
we
go
know.
I'm gonna go when she hooked up with Harry Styles. Is when
Well,
it
that
got
was a
gnarly.
bad one. That was bad. But then obviously his punch in the gut was when she got served papers. And we always said you kind of know when they're going to serve papers, and there's no way Jason didn't know. And again, we don't know for sure, but what we think from our experience of using court documents and lawyers and by covering this for the past decade, you know when they're going to get served. And that was public embarrassment. That was definitely a punch to the gut.
Oh yeah. Yep, for sure. Just embarrassing on all fronts, especially because she was trying to promote a movie at the time.
Is it weird that we know so much about their finances when this stuff becomes public?
100%.
Because it is public.
I think I look at it and I'm like, I don't feel like I should know this, or even just all the intimate details of Britney Spears' life when she was going to court and having to reveal how much money she was making a part of the conservatorship. And sometimes you're just like, why do we know all this stuff? Like,
well, if I was Olivia Wilde, why do you? I mean, granted, she wants the money, but she's putting it out there. Like, listen, I only make, is it worth it for her to say I only make this amount of money? But also, it's like, hey, listen, you're not poor by any means, but when you spend $4,000 just on cleaning a month, that's just like, I don't know how people feel about that. That's just leaves a weird taste in people's mouth. Like, dude, come on,
because
like
no one can relate to you. Like, that's people's mortgage. That's a lot of money that you're just spending on getting your sheets washed.
Yeah, well, Dax, let me ask you this lastly about this topic. Do you think when stories like this come out and you hear the finances and the obviously animosity between the two people, does this affect their career? Does this affect them getting jobs?
No.
No?
I don't think so. No. I mean, I think what affects jobs more is stories about them being irresponsible on set or not showing up to work or stuff like that. I feel like affects, like when we talked to Tara Reid when she was on, it made sense why she lost a lot of gigs, because people were like, oh, she's out partying, she's not being responsible. Even though she was showing up to set, those hurt her career. I think that people look past this because they're like, oh, they're having marital issues or they're having custody issues. I don't think that's a negative light. That doesn't reflect how you work, but not showing up on set reflects people not wanting to hire you then, or being difficult to work with.
Okay. I just didn't think that this humanizes you a little bit. I don't even know if humanizes is the word, but makes you more of a public figure. Whereas when you hear the stories of like Eddie Redmayne, which he's a great actor, but you really don't know, he's a little bit more mysterious. So when he plays a role, you see the character, not for some guy who's been in a divorce and he spends $4,000 on cleaning a month. So
I'm not saying this stuff. I'm not saying this helps your career, but I don't think it derails it like other stories could derail it.
From my experiences,
I think the Britney stories, like that kind of stuff, is more detrimental when you see they're posting a lot and you're worried about their mental well-being. That I think affects careers more than anything else.
For what it's worth, I'll say one last thing about this. I've met Jason Sudeikis on the street. Very nice guy, good to the fans, nice guy, signs autographs, takes photos. And I've met Olivia Wilde and wasn't the warmest person.
For what it is.
I mean, listen, I could be that's just my experience, but she wasn't warm and I didn't really ask for anything. I didn't even put a camera to her. I was just like, hey, I'm a big fan. Just want to say, like, I really enjoy it, and just was like not into it one bit.
Do you tell people, hey, I'm a big fan, even if you're not a big fan?
Probably, yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah. It's maybe I've probably said it to a bunch of people, so I have to imagine. Yeah. All right. Number 4.
Has anyone ever called you out and been like, oh, you're a big fan, name 2 of my movies?
Great question. No, because good thing for Google, I can mention some obscure project that they did that no one else knew about or knows about or talks about. So I'm able to bring that up like, oh, okay. But I don't think I've been called out on it too much. But no, it's hard. Like this sort of like random, but like I've been with celebrities and like they want to sing with me on the street, which is like, what? Celebrities want to sing with me on the street? But obviously when I'm filming, it's a fun little thing. If someone said, hey, Dax, sing a song right away, what would you sing?
Oh, God. I legit, I have no idea.
See, that's the toughest question. Like, so I've had like Michael Bublé, Wyclef, Aretha Franklin when she was, around. They would say, all right, let's sing a
Aretha's
song.
a different one. Like,
Well, I sang Respect with her.
of
I said, how do
course,
you?
there's no other option.
But like Michael Bublé is like, hey, let's sing a song together. I'm like, what do you sing with Michael Bublé? Like, there's just so many. I
I'd be
can't
like,
think of.
Itsy Bitsy Spider. I don't know. Like, what the
It's
hell
a
do you
tough
sing?
question. Like, what do you sing? Right. And I remember singing for CeeLo when CeeLo was the host of what show was he? Was he The Voice? He was on The Voice, and I made him turn around, and he's like, all right, I'm going to turn around. If your voice sounds good, I'll turn around like I do on The Voice. So I had to think of a song right away to sing, and for some reason, the only song that came to my head was the song "Cupid" by 112, which is like, what? Who sings that? Of all the songs you could sing, you sang "Cupid" by 112. And I don't know. I just felt like that song reached my notes or something like that.
How'd you do?
Terrible.
Turn around?
Terrible. I'm not a singer. Come on. I sound like I sing out of my nose. It's terrible. But yeah, it's a weird thing. All right. I just tell random things on this thing. I'm sorry, guys. All right. Number 4.
Number 4, Pete Davidson opening up about all the misconceptions around his dating life. So I thought this was interesting. He started talking about the fact that he is such under a microscope when it comes to his dating life. And he's like, I kind of don't understand why. He said that, he's only dated like 10 people in the last 10 years. They've just been such high profile relationships that's all anyone ever wants to talk about when his name is brought up. And I mean, it makes sense when you date Ariana Grande and Kate Beckinsale and Kim Kardashian. Like, what else do you want from the world? Like, you're known as like the guy who lands the biggest chicks in Hollywood. You know what I'm saying? But he, the other part of it, he goes, look, at the end of the day, I met a lot of them just at work. For working at SNL, I would meet a lot of them. It wasn't like he was on, dipping into people's DMs here. It was a work thing. He'd meet them, they would hit it off, and next thing you know, they'd be dating. I just thought that was interesting.
Do you feel like this comes from someone whose feet aren't on the ground? Like, do you not realize what you're talking about here? Like, yes, it's interesting. It's crazy. It's not like you're dating some girl from high school. Like Charlie Puth right now is dating a girl he grew up with. No one talks about that. But when you start dating these high level people, like an Ariana Grande, like a Kim Kardashian, that also leak stories to the media, of course, there's going to be news stories around the relationship. So is it kind of crazy for him not to realize, like, dude, like,
I don't think he doesn't realize it. I think he gets it. I think what he's shocked about is that no one talks about anything else with him. They only talk about his dating life.
I will say this from sources I know. They tell me that like he loves this shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like he thinks it's funny. However, again, when your personal life, I'm a big believer when your personal life gets too big than your professional life, then it becomes an issue. With that said, fortunately for Pete, he's a comedian and he does stand-up comedy, so he could talk about that on stage and use it to his advantage. Like I believe Pete has a contract with one of the streamers to do a stand-up special eventually or coming up soon. And that's going to be a huge stand-up special because people are going to wait to hear these stories and stuff. And we've heard, a few jokes here and there about his, what he's had to say about it. So I think people are really interested in his stories and experiences from dating some of these people. People want to, they want to hear his side, which he still hasn't really gone into detail. But I think that's the gentleman on his part. He's not gross about it.
God, we need to get him on here. This would be such a good interview.
Yeah, it would be. He did an interview with what's the guy's name? Punisher. Great actor.
Who?
John Bernthal. He did this interview with John Bernthal on his podcast. And I will give Pete credit. He's not on social media. So it's not like he's gross. It's what he says. It's not like it's gross. It's not like I DM girls. It's just, I meet them while working and things. It is what it is. I mean, I get it. And I'm glad for Pete to kind of talk about it a little bit. However, I don't think this changes the misconceptions about him. I think it's him just kind of speaking about it.
I think we're still going to be talking about his love life at the end of the day.
Exactly. Number 3,
Tom Schwartz being crazy candid. He went on Andy Cohen's Watch What Happens Live and talked all about Tom Sandoval and Raquel's affair and how his involvement with it. I highly suggest you go watch the interview because I probably won't do this justice, but basically saying how he was kind of wrapped into the whole situation. And he was also, I don't want to say he was necessarily a victim, but he did say that he had a lot to lose and he had a lot on the line. He was going through a lot of issues with work. He was going through bankruptcy. He was going through, I want to say, losing his father and cancer in his family, like all these things. So he said, like, I should have stepped in sooner. But I didn't. And he said that it started off, he found out in late August about the affair. It was like a one night stand, allegedly. And kind of question Sandoval about it. But Sandoval basically said that he was in love with Raquel, that I guess they had got into this like emotional level where she was his heroine, right? Like I mean, it sounds
That's
like
the quote. Yeah.
they really fell for each other. And I guess that Sandoval would tell Schwartz, like, it rationalized the whole thing by saying, oh, me and Ariana, we're not doing good, or we're going to break up. And I guess Schwartz would say, okay, well, and he kept waiting for the shoe to drop and waiting for Sandoval to actually break off the relationship with Ariana so that what he was doing was legitimate. And it just, like, the time kept passing and passing and passing. And I guess he found out like early this year that like things had gotten really serious between the two. But he said, look, he used me and our friendship, and I think he said that I lost a lot of credibility between our friends because I was kind of helping him or, smuggling her around. So he's not saying that he isn't without blame. But I think he's just saying, like, look, he put me in a really weird spot and I had a lot to lose. So I kind of went along with it probably longer than I should have.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things. If you were in Tom Schwartz's position and Tom Sandoval comes to you and says, listen, I have feelings for Raquel. We had an affair. What is Tom? I feel like Tom Schwartz got thrown into this when it's really not his business. Like, yeah, he could talk to Sandoval and try to help him out as a friend, but is he supposed to be the one to tell and get involved? Like, what?
Yeah, I feel like that is a really tough spot because he's your friend. So you're like, oh, where does the bro code line get drawn, right? Like, hey, I'm here for you. I think you have to talk to him and say, buddy, I don't agree with what you're doing. I think if this is the relationship you want to pursue, you need to end your other relationship, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's the right thing to do. Be a man and end your relationship so that you're not leading someone on or hurting someone else. Like, if you're not in love with this woman anymore, then break it off. Don't just keep messing with her heart or messing around behind her back. That's not good. So I think if I was his friend, that would be the conversation I'd had. Like, don't make me the guy that, has to smuggle in your new girl. I don't want to be that. I can sit here as your friend and tell you what you're doing is wrong. Here's how you fix it, but that's on you. Yeah,
it's tough. I mean, there's a lot going on. Again, when it's cloudy outside, sometimes you don't think right. And when I mean that, it's like in his head. There's a lot going on in his life. It was in a dark place. And when you're in a dark place, sometimes you don't make the best decisions. I think so. This interview came from Tom Schwartz being on Watch What Happens. He was pretty honest about it. And he was like, listen, he talked about Scandoval. Like, he knows he messed up. It's not like something where he's trying to, it's just, he's got to now face the issues. And it's like, how long do we just keep giving this guy shit? Like, and at what point do we start moving on? I kind of feel bad for Tom Schwartz because he got thrown into the mix, but again, he has nothing to do with it. Like, he didn't do anything wrong except that, I mean, he just knew about it and said, hey, I'm not going to say anything. That's for you to kind of do it. And I just think the way it all came out just didn't please everyone. And we're going to see, hopefully after the reunion, we could kind of talk about this and then move on.
Yeah. Good God. Let the reunion play already.
All right. Number 2.
By the way, did you see Ariana in her red dress?
Look good.
They released a bunch of photos from the
Outfits.
the outfits for the
Yeah.
upcoming reunion. That
Yeah.
was definitely some revenge dress shit right there, man.
Oh yeah.
She looked good.
Oh, she looked great. I mean, I met her in person, and I've seen her in person. She looks great in person. She's gorgeous. She's very, very pretty. I mean, all the girls are very pretty on Vanderpump, so I can't really, there's nothing. They're both good-looking girls, so at least Tom Sandoval has good taste as far as it looks. I don't know about personally, but All right, number 2.
I got a new couple confirming their engagement, Kate Bosworth and Justin Long. They finally confirmed it. There was some rumor swirling around for a couple of weeks, but the fact is they did get engaged, and they were on, I think, Life is Short with Justin Long. This is his podcast, and talked about the details of the quote unquote organic proposal. So I guess he had some kind of like big idea proposal, but she is not into the big proposals. And it actually happened one day while they were just like laying in bed, having like a conversation, talking about life. And he said that it just felt like the right moment. And so no big plans, just like turned and said, like, I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Basically, will you marry me? And it was, for them, the perfect proposal. Because, like, some people would love that. Other people would hate that. They would want it to be public and in front of friends and family. And I guess for her, it was like the best possible proposal.
Yeah. I like them. I think they're a very cool couple where they kind of keep things very classy. It's not gross, especially in the way you kind of see these public relationships, especially with celebrities, the way they use the media to their advantage, like the way they use Instagram. They've been kind of very tasteful where they kind of keep to themselves, but don't really deny anything. And I just think it's just nice. They kind of did the interview on their terms, which is his podcast, which is Life is Short. Good for them. Good for them. I think it's a very cool pairing of them.
What is she doing these days? Like, has she been in any big movies or anything?
I could not tell you.
It's a little bit.
So it's funny when you think about that era of actresses, like the Jessica Albas, the Kate Bosworths, like all those sort of names where they kind of were and not saying they're not hot anymore, but the young hot girls. A lot of those girls kind of like Jessica Alba have moved on to being business women, not as much actresses. Right?
Yeah,
Would you say that?
Other thing? Yeah. Well, I mean, what's her name? Alba. Yeah, she's got that massive baby line.
Yeah, and they've made a lot of money, but like when you think of like Jessica Simpson, a lot of those people, what we knew them as actresses or singers, they move more into business people.
Jessica Simpson's on a whole nother level though. Like she's crazy successful.
But in business, it's a lot of girls in that generation just became more business girls. Even a person like Gwyneth Paltrow, where Gwyneth Paltrow doesn't act really anymore. She's more known for
vagina candles.
Exactly. So it's just funny and interesting to see what that thing did. And a friend of mine is a female broadcaster, and she said to me, the longevity of a female person when you're the hot, attractive girl, your span is not as long as a man. Because you come on as the attractive girl, it's hard to be that role and be that public for a long time. So eventually you got to kind of move on. And fortunately, girls like them have kind of moved to a different kind of career path and made a lot of money.
I think for men and women, the best thing you can do if you're in the entertainment industry is diversify. Find something else that is going to pay the bills, because not everyone, like you said, no one's going to stay good looking forever. No one's going to stay, and you're really at the whim of the public and whether they like you, at directors and, writers, and if they want you in their projects. But one day you could be the biggest star in the world. Next day, no one's hiring you anymore. So like, if you have something else to fall back on, that is the best case scenario.
I just realized, like, this hat I'm wearing on my head. You didn't tell me, Dax. It looks like my head looks like a penis and looks like a condom at the top of my. It's leaning.
You look like a Smurf, is what you look like to me.
Yeah, I look like a Keebler elf right now. I don't know what I was thinking getting ready for this podcast. Oh God! On to the number one story of the week, Dax. What is the number one story?
Number one story is Bad Bunny, Kendall Jenner. I mean, they are clearly dating. There was a lot of rumors, obviously, because we've seen them out over the last couple of weeks going to dinner. They were out with Justin Bieber and Hailey Bieber, and a lot of people talking about this. But now there's photos that TMZ got of them out horseback riding at this Hidden Hills Equestrian Center. And in a couple of the shots, they're on the same horse. She's sitting, I guess, front. He's sitting behind. He's got his arms around her. And it's very clear that these two are a couple at this point. Like, they cannot come out and be like, oh, no, we're just friends. Like, this is some couple shit when you're out double riding the horse, right?
Yeah. I mean, you don't do that with a friend, especially going on the same horse.
Well, I mean, you and I did. We rode on the same horse.
Yeah, but we weren't in pants, so it was cool. I feel bad for that horse. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of speculation. Are they actually dating? Are they together? There are some stories that came out that they're openly making out at a restaurant, but we never saw photos or proof. Now, we didn't see photos of them obviously physically kissing, but we saw photos of them pretty much on the same saddle as, I mean, you don't do that with a friend. And I think the photo speaks for itself that
100%.
These two are officially hanging out.
They're both big into horses and horseback riding. We've seen Bad Bunny do numerous videos where he's riding around on horses. She's talked about her love of, horseback riding. So I think that they've got this like common bond between the two of them, which you always wonder, like, what is it that you have in common? You know what I'm saying? And this might be it for them, is that they both love horses and being outdoors and, getting out of the public eye. Even though I do wonder, like, how did someone get these photos?
Yeah, I am curious how they got those photos.
It's just Kris Jenner hiding in the bushes taking photos.
Man,
just rubbing her hands together, being like, "Oh, Kendall Jenner is with the biggest star in the world."
It really is. I mean, this is a relationship that's so good for like business. It's insane. It's painful to talk about because it's such a good business move. Here's the biggest model in the world. Here's the biggest music artist in the world. And I know some people, might not know. They know the name Bad Bunny, but they don't know his music. But now you know that he's dating Kendall Jenner. And it's just, I would say this equivalent to when like Tom Brady, the best quarterback in the world, starts dating and marrying Gisele Bündchen, who at that time was the biggest model in the world. Like, it's that kind of caliber of relationship.
Well, I think a lot of Americans, unfortunately, just don't know all of Bad Bunny's songs. They don't know how big he is internationally. But like, this guy is so huge, so huge. You may not like his music. You may not even know his music. He is incredibly, incredibly like huge around the world. So yeah. This is massive for the Kardashians. They like getting in, famous people to date the daughters of this family because it just raises, the stature of everyone in the family. If this continues to go, Kendall will be international royalty if she's on Bad Bunny's arm around the world.
100%. Guys, that is our top 10 stories of the week. Thank you guys for listening. If you're on YouTube, like and subscribe. If you're listening to this podcast, wherever you're listening to, please leave a review. It's the best thing to do to support this podcast. Follow us on TikTok at Hollywood Raw Pod, Instagram at Hollywood Raw Pod, and we also have this Facebook group called Off the Record, which is a really, really cool, fun community where you guys can ask us questions and you guys can talk to each other. It's just like, it's a site where you don't need to go to the other sites. You just go into the Facebook group and we kind of tell you what's going on in the world. We're actually going to do an episode where you guys can ask us anything and we'll answer your questions. Kind of stuff that we can't really talk about in the group because the answers are so long-winded, but we're going to get into that later. We'll probably post about it in the Facebook group. Follow me at Adam Glyn. Follow Dax Holt at Dax Holt. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye. Guys, hope you like that video. We got a lot more where that came from.
Hit that bell, like, subscribe, share with a friend. The best thing you do to support us is really doing that. And we really need the money because we need hair gel.